How do you make more money on the web? And how do you find the right kinds of customers? And what is the difference between advertising and the kind of marketing that we do? These are all interesting questions, and I think it's really a matter of taste, really, and perspective. A lot of things have changed in the last few years, and back in the old days, we used to do these incredible pre-production meetings and production meetings that went super late into the wee hours of the morning, and then we'd execute, and then we'd have a soft launch and a pre-launch and then a real launch and all this stuff. And I think a lot of that has been replaced by the web. My point, my purpose, is to create web environments where people are getting information quick and fast. And I don't care if the websites are perfect. I don't care if the graphics are perfect. And all, not every case, but in some cases when I just want to create something to see if there's a real public need for it, I will throw something up on the web. I'll gamble $2 on a web domain and start driving traffic to it just to see what would happen, if it's going to be a winner or if it's going to be a flop. You can take chances like that now. And what's interesting to me is that the perspective of an advertiser runs counter to the way we do things. In advertising, everything has to be perfect before you launch it. You got to have pretty graphics. You got to spend tons of money on a typographer and a photographer as well. And also, you do all this analysis of study, and you get these phone book sized, research data that people put together. It's amazing. I mean, it's a well thought out process, and then when you execute the doggone thing, you might not make money with it. I like to execute my products quick and fast if I can, because I want to find out if they're going to flop or if they're going to be, a success. And thanks to a lot of the tools on the web, you can do this type of analysis really quickly. It's like Google Trends, for example. Google.com/trends is a really good example of that. You can research pretty much anything and track web traffic from different parts of the state, different parts of the country, and the world for that matter, and find out who's buying what and who's searching for what, and is a time good, for you to create a website based on that. There's keyword analysis tools that are out there. Most of them are free. Some you got to pay for. I've had pretty good luck with the ones that that you have for free. I've purchased subscriptions to keyword databanks that research keywords, a month behind or 2 months back to find out what people were searching for. And I find the free ones are fairly decent, and they do a pretty good job. Google owns some of this stuff, and you should take advantage of that because that's very, very important. So those are some of the things that I do. I look for that, and I want to find out if an idea is worth investing in. And I will build a website and throw it up on the search engines and see how it takes off, or see whose imagination I can capture. It's very, very important to do that. And the web allows you to do that. There's a lot of room there for trial and error. You got to remember that at this level of advertising, or I should say marketing, has only been around for a few years. It was never as sharp or as tight as 10 years ago. We used to build websites for the .com groups, and back then the search engines were not really as tight as they are now. Right now it's right down to it's almost like a science. It's very, very accurate. You can create a company or an idea and sell it and find people that want to buy your stuff. It's really incredible, to say the least. So I'm a big fan of ugly websites. You don't have to have super jazzed up sites with tons of moving animation, and that whole thing with Flash, by the way, is not always great, because a lot of your web content gets embedded into a movie file or to a graphic, and what happens? search engines don't pick it up, and they don't pop up properly on the results. If you got your information embedded into a picture file, like your phone number or your address or your email, how in the world are people going to contact you? It's going to be kind of hard. So do keep that in mind. These are some of the things that I'm actually against, especially if it means keeping your doors open, making money right now. I would ditch all that stuff and go with a site that's very index friendly and run with that for a while. And who's to say you can't have multiple sites? Because you can. You can have multiple websites with the same message for different parts of different cities and counties that you service. I know a lot of web guys out there say, well, you only need one site. You can only have one site. But I have a problem with that, because if you're trying to sell multiple things and you've got all of those items on one site, and it's going to be harder for you to make a really strong market penetration. So you're going to want to make sure that you have different things for different markets. If you have to get different profit centers and different sites, domain names are cheap, and I would definitely do that, and start publishing. Start publishing a lot of media, and especially if your marketplace is very, very tight. I know we had some problems in Southfield with some dentist markets. They were very, very tight. There's a lot of dentists in Metro Detroit, and it was really, really tough to come out there. Page 1 results on all 3 major search engines. There was a lot of work that had to be done to make that happen, and we've been able to help with that. But it takes more than a 5-page site in most cases, and that's the one thing the phone companies never really figured out, is that you need more. You need more. You need more pages. You need more space, and for every major category that you carry, or every service that you do, you need to have a page for that's separate. Don't put them on bullet points and expect people to ring your phone off the hook. It's not going to happen. I see a lot of home repair companies do this too. A lot of carpet cleaners do it, roofers do it, floor guys do it. They put a bullet point list together, and they think the phone's going to go, bananas. It doesn't really happen that way. And it's not the way to sell a company, and you need a marketer perspective to do that. I've actually had the fortunate experience to sit on both sides of the fence. I was an advertising guy for years. Now I'm a new media guy, and I've actually fixed my company that up so that it runs counterclockwise to a lot of the typical norms that we ran into in advertising. That's why we call the site theendofadvertising.com. We do things in a whole different way. We play with accuracy. We don't play with guesses. I think there's a lot of guesswork in advertising. We don't always know what's going to be popular, what's going to hit, or what's going to sell. Well, we take chances, and we roll the dice on that, and we say, well, market research shows us that this should work. And we don't really know. What I do that's different is I actually research the web first to find out who's buying your stuff, or who's buying services like yours, and I'm actually getting it down to the keywords where I can actually literally plug those into your sites and all your web media, and just turning on a switch and start directing people to your site, whether it be through video or through press releases, and that's really, really great. A lot of our press releases have been picked up by CBS Money Watch and USA Today, and it gets really interesting what happens, because it creates credibility, and when you have credibility, you have a real business that's going to stand on its own, and people are going to respect that, and those are the kind of environments that I like to create. I like to do that for professional services, either with dentist offices or medical offices, chiropractic, legal services. That's what we do in a nutshell. And also find groups of people that need the services. And so you got to, it's a whole different way of researching things. That is really different, because in advertising we used to do things like we'd run demographic research, and we find out the age of people who would buy, let's say, for example, video games. What kind of food do they eat? What kind of beer do they drink, or whatever? Not kids, but the adults. And then we do this over and over again. What shows do they watch? And what kind of things they partake in. Based on that information, we come up with a product that we'd hope would sell in test markets, and that is out in a lot of cases. For what I do, it still has a valid point for doing food products and other things, but I'm talking about selling professional services in your area based on what people are searching for on the web. It's a whole different animal. So we're not really doing market projection on what we think is going to sell. I'm actually going to find out what's selling and build sites around it and put your name on it and plug you in so you can participate in that market share. You follow. That's a whole different thing than advertising. So we call this the end of advertising. And that's really what it's all about. So anyway, enough jibber jabber on that. If you want to get a hold of us, give us a call, 248-631-9211. I'm Ted Cantu, and I'm the art director, ex-art director in advertising, now working for the people. And what we say here is give the people what they want. And you can always find out more information about these types of videos at theendofadvertising.com. And if you need help with your dental office and getting it on page 1 of Google, by all means call us and contact us direct. And we hope that we hear from you, because we are living in an amazing age. All right. Thanks for watching.